everybody, this is Mike from Eldorado Guitars, and I'm coming at you today with a demo of the Diezel Big Max. One of my favorite amps that I acquired last year. The Big Max is just so awesome. I think the easiest way to explain it is this amp is as if Peter Diezels would have built a Marshall 2204, right? That's basically what this amp is, right? 2204 is a 50 watt JCM 800, right? And that's kind of, I think, how to think about this amp. It's very similar, right? It's got two inputs, a high and a low. It's one channel. It's very simple, right? Gain, treble, middle, bass, right? It's got a presence, and then, of course, the Diezel deep switch. It's also got a bright switch over here. And this amp is just so simple in its construction and its feature set and so effective. It actually reminds me a lot of my Karsten's amps because it's the same type of thing. Very minimal controls, right, but maximal focus on tone. And you can get so many sounds out of just these very simple controls. You heard kind of like an Adam Jonesy type of sound there at the beginning. And the way I have this set up right now is I've got the gain at about 6, treble at 6, mids about 4, bass at 5, and presence and deep each at about like 5.5 or so. And I've got the bright switch engaged. I'm in the high input. And I am playing through a 1990, I think this is a 4. This is a 4? 1994 Gibson Les Paul Classic Premium Plus. Maybe if it looks familiar to you, it's because this is the same guitar, the exact same color and everything that Billy Howardell from A Perfect Circle plays. And I got this one in mint condition. It's absolutely insane, crazy. And it's light. It's only like 8 pounds, 10 ounces or something. It's insane. But anyways, this guitar has a Seymour Duncan DDJ in the bridge from the 80s, and it's got a Suhr Thornbucker in the neck, because I like really bright neck pickups. And then I do have a new wiring harness in here. This is a wiring harness by RS Guitar Works. It's one of their vintage replacement kits or whatever. You can go on their website and check it out. We're running the Big Max into my Marshall 4x12. This is my Jubilee cab. This is an original 87 Jubilee cab with the Marshall V30s in it. I think they call them G12 Vintage. Also the Billy Howardell speaker of choice. Big fan, in case you can't tell. And we're going into my Fryette power station, and I'm adding a little bit of wetness in the loop there with this reverb and delay by Earthquaker Devices. This is a Dispatch Maker, which is my kind of go-to. Just not very heavy. It's just on for a little bit of ambiance, right, to kind of keep the sound feeling a bit full. I have the power station set flat, by the way, so we're not getting any impact from that at all. I'm not utilizing the presence or depth or anything on that. Okay. So yeah, I kind of have this set up for an Adam Jonesy type sound right now, and as you can hear, it really just sounds killer. I mean, it sounds so awesome. Just sounds awesome, man. I could play that tone all day, man. promise that's all the Adam Jonesing we're going to do. But yeah, man, that never gets old. So what I love about this, and what that tone really shows off, is kind of how much a Marshall really helps a Diesel, right? So you know, if you like Adam Jones, you're a fan of that tone, which I think I just captured pretty fairly there. It's a mix of Marshall and Diesel, right? Adam Jones uses a Diesel and a Marshall as his bass tone. He's been known to mix other amps like a Rivera and a Mesa in there, but mostly it's the Diesel and the Marshall. But I think what people don't realize is you're hearing a lot of the Marshall in that sound, and this amp really encompasses that, right? This amp is very similar to a Marshall insofar as it's got more upper mids, it's got more cut and punch at the top, it's got a little bit of kerrang at the top that a lot of Diezels don't have, but it still retains that low-end muscle and punch of the Diesel. I can't convey this in a YouTube video, but when I was doing the low part of Anima there, that part, everything in here was shaking. Like, literally, I could hear these other amps shaking and the tubes in them shaking. I mean, that's how much punch is in this amp, right? So, just so you know. Now, the question I get from a lot of people, of course, is like, how much gain does this amp really have on tap? And that was with the gain at 1 o'clock. And you can see I pretty much encompassed the Adam Jones tone, right? But you can do more if you wanted. So, for example, I'm going to up it to about like, well, I don't know, maybe like 2 o'clock, 2:30. Right, I'm going to up the mids just a little bit, and let's kind of hear what we get. This is going to be a little chuggy, but I kind of want to show you sort of how much gain is on tap with this, right? So let's check it out. A lot of gain, plenty of gain. That's no pedals, no anything, and you've still got, 3 more notches you can go. So definitely plenty of gain on this amp. But let's go in completely the other direction, and I want to show you a different way to run this amp. So as opposed to running it with the gain set really high, another thing that you can do is you can run it with the gain set really low and then use a pedal to help boost yourself. So one of my favorite things about this Diesel is that it takes pedals really well. Other Diezels like the VH4 and the Hagen and stuff, which I've owned, I didn't feel like they particularly took pedals really well because they just didn't really need them, right? They didn't really need an overdrive. But this amp actually takes them really well. And I'll show you on the low channel in a minute how you can turn this into an even better pedal platform. But I want to show you that the high sensitivity is still very good for a pedal platform. So I'm going to lower the gain down to maybe about like, I don't know, like 9 o'clock or so, right? I do have the bright switch engaged, so it's going to kick in a little bit more. As you lower the gain, the bright switch matters more. I may turn it off depending upon how this goes. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and set my, I'm going to suck the mids back down to 4. I've got treble at 6, mid at 4, we'll leave bass at 5, we'll leave presence and deep alone, okay? And down here on the floor, I've got with me an Earthquaker Plumes, which is one of my favorite boosts. It's that little green and yellow pedal. Mine's actually purple and white, but and most people know it as that green and yellow pedal. And I've got the level at 3/4. I've got the gain at 0. I'm actually going to turn that down. I've got the gain at 0, and I've got the tone straight up, right? Just so you can hear how when you kick in a little boost to this thing, it really takes off. So here's our bass tone. On. cleans up the sound. Really aggressive, great for down tuning. I'm not down tuned that far, right? Just drop D. But if you're playing something lower, like drop C sharp or drop C, running the gain lower and then boosting may actually provide you with a better tone than running the gain really high, right? So really cool. Okay. One other thing I'm going to show on the high channel before I move over to the low channel is the capability of this amp to do a lot of vintage tones. So while I've showed you more modern tones up until this point, I want to show you some more vintage tones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the gain up to about like, oh, I don't know, like 11 or so, right, ish. Maybe slightly more, 11, 11:30, right? I'm going to leave the treble at 6. I'm actually going to up the mids now to about 6. And I'm going to up the bass to about 6. We'll leave the presence and deep where they are. And you're going to hear some great classic rock tones out of this thing. So hold on one sec, let me tune up. Close enough. All right. So let me show you what I mean. Let's get some classic rock tones out of this bad boy. Up the gain just slightly. Pretty good old school tones. I mean, that sounds like a JCM 800. I mean, it sounds like a killer JCM 800. Honestly, that tone and the tone that comes out of the Jakey Lee, like, I mean, I feel like you could set those identically, right? I mean, it sounds very close here. They're very pokey, very bright, right? You would not guess that was a Diesel, right? And that's kind of my point, right? This amp is so great. It's such a great blend of Marshall and Diesel, right? And that's what's so cool about it. I mean, you can even get some convincing EVH tones out of this thing. I'm not really playing the right guitar for this, but like, I mean, I'll bring the mids back maybe just like a tiny bit. And I don't know, like maybe we can get some kind of cool EVH tones out of this bad boy. I'm going to up the deep in presence a little, and I don't know, let's just see what we get here. Turn the volume down too far. Pretty cool, right? It's pretty neat. Man, this amp is so fun to play. Yeah, so, you know, kind of cool. I don't know if it's gonna, like, you know, be an exact 1970 super lead, right? But it's very cool, right? So, you know, a lot of great tones in this. Okay, we'll switch over to the low channel now. I wanted to cover the high first because I know that's why most of you are probably here. But I want to make sure we cover the low as well. So I'm gonna switch over to the low channel now. I'm going to put all the controls at noon, so I'm going to do gain, noon, bass, middle, treble, presence, deep, everything just straight at noon. And this is kind of our bass tone. It'll be pretty clean. The bridge pickup on this is pretty hot, so the bridge might have a little gain, but the neck should be very clean. And then what I can do now is actually add a boost on top of that. So if I want to get my gain from a pedal, right? So you've got the option to kind of set this EQ how you want and then just use it as a very blank pedal platform. So for example, I'll kick on the Plumes again. The settings are still exactly the same. I'll change them in a moment, but right now they're exactly the same. But just to show you kind of what it sounds like, let's check it out. You have two choices, right? You can either up the gain on the amp, right, which will increase kind of the bass gain, or you can up the gain on the pedal. So first, let's up the gain on the amp, and then I'll swap it around and up it on the pedal. So I'm going to up the gain from noon to about 2:30 or so right now. I'm going to keep the pedal engaged, and let's see what we get this time. Pretty cool tone. I actually feel like we're kind of cool to a punky, kind of close to a punky kind of tone. Like I'm gonna back the gain off just a tiny little bit till about like 1 o'clock, and I feel like we're gonna get in like a Green Day zone or something here. Let's check it out. Pretty cool, right? I think we got a cool, like, punky kind of tone out of that, which was pretty fun. And, you know, like I said, you can play all around with this however you want, you know, and get really cool sounds. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the gain back to noon. And then this time, instead of increasing the gain on the amp, we're going to increase the gain on the pedal. So I'm going to go from right now, it's at 0. I'm going to go up to about 9 o'clock. So let's go ahead and we'll just set that at 9 o'clock. So right now the settings are level, 3 o'clock, gain, 9 o'clock, tone, straight up, and we're on mode number 2. So let's kind of hear what that sounds like by upping the gain on the pedal this time. Sounds there that you can, you know, play around with your pedals, play around with the gain and stuff here. You could turn the bright off if you thought that was too bright, or you could turn it off, especially if you're doing like a bright lead like this, like. So Big Max, check it out. Really amazing amp. Can do a lot of tones, everything from super high gain, vintage gain, pedal platform. I mean, it's even a clean amp if you just want clean sounds, you know? I mean, you could put an awesome reverb on this, like if you had a spring reverb tank and a Strat, and you plugged into the low input and turned the bright switch on, man, this thing would be dope, right? And probably a different cabinet, right? I would use maybe like Creambacks or something, right? This amp is just so cool. So thanks for checking it out with me again. I'm Mike from Eldorado Guitars. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share. It really does help me out. I know everybody says that, but it's really true. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can do some live streaming with you guys. And they have a requirement, YouTube has a requirement for 1,000 viewers. So if you could subscribe or recommend me to your friends, I would love that. Thanks everybody, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.